Welcome to Outpost Virtual Series. Tonight we'll be live streaming a Skillshare with Nini Fritz. My name is Robert, and I would like to thank you all for tuning in. Outpost is launching a variety of virtual events each week to help keep our community active, engaged, and connected during these times. On Wednesday, the 29th of next week, we'll be live streaming a Skillshare led by Adele Waijaka on building a brand that doesn't suck. So I encourage you all to go follow our Facebook page so you guys can get updates on the new events that we'll be rolling out. The topic for tonight's live stream Skillshare is Start Living Your Bucket List Now, led by Nini Fritz. Nini has helped thousands of individuals from 14,500 companies like PwC and Adidas live their best bucket list lives. So I'll drop a link to her information in the comment section so you guys can all stay connected with her and see what she's up to. Also, feel free to say hello in the comment section. Maybe also add what part of the world you guys are tuning in from. We'd love to hear from everyone. If you guys have any questions throughout the Skillshare, please put them into the comment section and we'll be tackling a Q&A session with Nini at the end of the event. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Nini to kick things off, and everyone enjoy your Skillshare.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for this nice introduction.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming and joining our event tonight.
Perfect. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it a lot. I hope everyone's safe wherever you are in the world. And should we get right into it? Should I start sharing?
Jump into it.
All right, guys, get ready. Okay. Here we go. So, okay, just don't see myself now. Okay, I hope you can all see me. So, hello everyone. Thanks for rocking up today on Life's Too Short Not to Live Your Bucket List. My name is Nini and I work as a certified bucket list coach. A what? You may think now. Jesus, people nowadays, they literally need a coach for everything in their life. It's just about writing a list down of all the things that you want to see and do before you kick the bucket. And you might be right. A bucket list coach is pretty much someone you never knew you needed until you had one, or at least that's what I hope you're going to say after our hour of power Skillshare together. So thanks for everyone who is listening to the call and took some time out of your very busy quarantine life. Thanks for everyone who interrupted taking some TikTok videos or baking bread or whatever you're doing to keep yourself busy in your quarantine time to work on your life. I'm very mindful of your time and I'm doing my best to make the sacrifice worth it. It might be a bit ironic in these times of social isolation and international travel ban and what else do we have? Financial insecurity, all that, to work on your bucket list. But yeah, I hope it's going to be worth it. And I don't want to make promises that I can keep. So I'm not going to tell you that this hour of power will completely change your life. But I'm pretty confident to say that within the next hour, you definitely get inspired to take a first step of action to one of your bucket list goals that you maybe by now didn't even know you had before. So I just introduced myself quickly. Who am I and what does a bucket list coach actually do? So after I graduated from university in Amsterdam about 2 years ago, on my 24th birthday, I took a gap year. I named it the bucket list year, and I gave myself 365 days to tick off as many things as I could. I did all the things that I wanted to see, learn, and do. And I was hoping that by the time I was turning 25, I would have had enough fun. I know what I wanted to do with my life, and then I'd be ready for the corporate world. My list was basically a bunch of random things. So I just bought a ticket to Nicaragua to improve my Spanish, to take surfing classes and actually hitchhike in a toilet paper truck in a time age when we still had toilet paper in abundance, and visited a few friends all over Europe, but it didn't really have a structure. So about 3 months into my bucket list year, here we go, I came across a TED talk from a guy called the Bucket List Guy, and he gave the ultimate 12-step blueprint of how to write a personally meaningful bucket list. I was hooked by the very first second, and that 19-minute video from this Mohawk guy at the other end of the world, he was actually in Melbourne, Australia, has literally changed my life, and it still does. I took a pen and I wrote down the time and date in my diary, and I said, I just found my true call. The same night, I canceled all the rest for the plan for the rest of the day. I sat down with a pen and paper and rewrote my own bucket list according to this acronym that he gave. I've always had quite an adventurous mind, but this blueprint just gave me the ultimate structure to define my purpose and break my pile of pasta in my head down into tangible bites and create a hands-on action plan. And spoiler alert, this is also exactly the blueprint that I'm going to give to you today. And 2 hours later, I actually booked a ticket and bought a flight to touch hands with the Dalai Lama 3 weeks later and tick off my first big goal on my bucket list. About 9 months later, I did not have a baby by the Dalai Lama, but I had the best year of my life. I visited 15 countries on 4 continents. I danced behind a DJ on a big festival. I accomplished a mud run. I surfed down an active volcano and even learned a breakdance freeze. And all in all, I accomplished things that I never even thought were possible before, and realized that absolutely nothing is too big to be ticked off the list. And I hope by the end of the session today, you're gonna feel the same about it. I'm telling you all these stories not to brag, but to show you that all that was ever standing in between of the things that I wanted to do and actually doing them only required one thing, and that was taking action. So no one got me a ticket and put me on stage. I simply texted the headliner DJs here in this picture on the left and told them that I always wanted to be a DJ's plus one and asked if they could help me accomplish my bucket list goal. And to my very own surprise, they did. They sent me a 3-day artist ticket and put me on stage. So after my bucket list year was officially over, I was expecting that now I know what I want to do with my life. I figured out my purpose, and I found out that my biggest strengths are talking a lot, in case you haven't noticed, and living my life up to the fullest. And Picasso once said, if you use your passion in the service of others, it becomes a purpose. So I followed that call, and fun fact is that the TED Talk guy that you saw earlier in the video actually cut off his mohawk, and he's now my boss. And together with bucket list coaches in 18 countries on 7 continents worldwide, we facilitate bucket list workshops and life plans to help individuals and corporates just like PwC, Adidas, Harcourts, to turn from non-bucket listers into bucket listers and live a life with more purpose, meaning, and fulfillment inside and outside of the workplace. Our vision is to create a purposely fulfilled world, and our mission is to help 10 million bucket listers, yes, we dream big, to live purposely fulfilled lives. Because we believe that life is way too short not to live your bucket list, and therefore we started a movement that is called Tick It Before You Kick It. Maybe you can see it here on my wristband. So we got this roll-up banner, and every time you tick something off your bucket list, you take the sign, you take a picture with it, you print that picture out and put it in your bucket list scrapbook, tick it off, and by the end of your days, you can just look through that little book and see all the things that you've accomplished, including all the memories to that. So to see if we actually got something to do here now, I'd say we do the mandatory show of hands for an interactive workshop, but since you can see me, but I cannot see you, I'd like you to put it down in the comment section. So, who of you actually has a bucket list written down? Oops, 1, 2, 5, missing one slide, I think. Here we go. Who of you is actually bucket list written down? Just put it in the comment section. Who of you got a bucket list in their head? Who of you is actually living their bucket list? And who of you already ticked something off their bucket list? Okay. I don't know, Robert, do you maybe want to put some of the comments in? Because I can't see them at the moment. Maybe not. Okay, then I just go on and then we go back
Sure,
to...
I'll jump in once they start coming in.
Okay.
But
Awkward silence, but I hope you're very busy listing up all your bucket list items that you ticked off so far. It's totally fine if you do not have a bucket list, if you don't have a goal. That's what I'm here for. That's what we're going to create today. I'm curious.
So Kyle
Yeah.
is currently living his bucket list.
Awesome.
Shamir has it in his head and ticked off.
Okay.
So those are just a few that we have coming in so far.
Well, at least we already got 2 kind of bucket listers. That's great. We can save the rest for later. We go through the comment section together. So basically, I hope you at least all know what a bucket list is. I talked to a guy in Canggu yesterday, a Balinese guy, and he did not know what it was. So I hope you know what it is. You actually know what I'm talking about here. The bucket list is a list of all the things that you want to see, eat, do, try, and travel to before you kick the bucket. A lot of people don't really like the term bucket list because it's so death-centered. So they call it a happy list, a yes list, a purpose list, an adventure list, whatever you want to call it. But what it does is actually giving you more purpose, meaning, and fulfillment in your life. And it's like a hands-on action plan of what you want to do with your life. So today we're going to take time out of your busy life to work on your life. And therefore we're going to separate a bucket list from a daily to-do list as in all of the other weekdays. So how are we going to do it? Accidentally swap the slides. So our hour of power is divided into 3 sections. We start with the golden circle from Simon Sinek. So we start with the why. Why you never knew you needed a bucket list until you did, hopefully. Then we go over to how. So how it can actually help you reach peak performance in every area of your life and also like thrive in business. And ultimately, we go over to the blueprints, and it's what we're going to do with it. And that's when I'll present you the 12-step ultimate holistic my bucket list blueprint of how to write a personally meaningful and holistic bucket list. So for now, I want you to take out a piece of paper and put 80 squares in it. That's what you're seeing here. So 80 squares represents the average age. So for women in Australia, it's 83, and for men, it's 79. So this basically represents the 80 years that we have in our life, the average time. Now, I want you to get a little interactive and tick every box that you're already on this earth, from left to right and then from top to bottom. Take a second for that. And so if you're somewhere in your 30s, this might look like something like this. Taking away maybe 5 to 10 years that you're physically or mentally no longer capable to do some activities. That means all the unticked boxes are the years that you have left to do all the things that you want to do. This is all you have left if you live up to the average 80 squares. It can be more, it can be less, but all the unticked boxes are all the Christmases, all the birthdays. If you live abroad and go home every other 2 years, that's the time you're going to see your family and friends back home. So yeah, what a motivational lecture. And I can show you it's even getting better. I just want you to think about it for yourself. You don't have to put that in the comment section, but how many of you know anyone who's been diagnosed or died from cancer or any other unexpected tragedy? And how many of them actually made it to the 80 squares? Feel free to, if you have a number, put that in the comment section, because I can't imagine, unfortunately, that the number is very, very low. And please let me know in the comment section as well, if you look at that, how does it make you feel? Promise you, it's not getting any worse than that. This is the lowest point. This is the rock bottom of this motivational speech. See, the problem is that we all have goals and dreams of what we want to do with our lives in our heads. But because we always think that we got a whole lifetime long to live and do all the things, we never make ourselves accountable for our own goals and dreams. We're so busy being busy that we basically postpone them to someday maybe, but someday is very likely never to happen. And in the end, we never took action and we regret all the things that we didn't do. We never learned Spanish, we never walked barefoot through India, and we never asked that cute coworker out on a date. There's a video from Prince EA. If you haven't watched it, it's very inspirational. You gotta watch it. And he says, the graveyard is the richest place on earth. It's where all the songs are buried that's never been published. It's where all the love confessions are that never been expressed. And where all the startup ideas are that have never been founded. But now it's too late. People die with the music still inside of them. Oops. It's too fast. We're so busy being busy in our daily lives that we often forget to take time out to pause and reflect on what is actually making us happy. We're so prone to success in numbers that we've lost our focus on success and experiences. We work on accomplishing our goals, satisfy the needs of our family and friends and society, and therefore we mostly keep on forgetting our own purpose. The question is then, are we working to work to live or live to work? We sleepwalk through life, being caught in our routines and functioning on autopilot. And suddenly, on our birthdays mostly, we wonder where all our time has gone, and we didn't even notice that another year flew by. The result is that we perform worse, significantly worse in our jobs, in our relationships, and in life when our minds are no longer to free and wonder and create. Unfortunately, it's only when something dramatic happens, like the loss of our loved one or that we're getting diagnosed with a disease, that we realize that life can just be over in a finger snap. Only when we get reminded of our own use-by date, that's when we get that sense of hurry up, and that's when we start acting. It sucks to say, but a lot of cancer survivors actually say that cancer has been the best thing that ever happened to them. And by that, I don't mean the disease, but the lesson that they've learned from it. Because when we face our own mortality is when we suddenly stop bullshitting. We stop impressing people we don't like with buying things we don't need for money we do not have. And we stop giving our precious time and energy to anyone or anything who pulls us down instead of lifting us up. In fact, the number one regret of dying people is I wish I would have had the courage to live a life true to myself and not one the other people expected of me. So the question is, if you look at your 80 squares now, what are you going to do differently with the time you have left? And that is where a bucket list comes to life. So a bucket list is not all about a list of 100 things to do before you die, quitting your job and hiking Machu Picchu. It can be as small or as little as anything. Take the salsa classes you always wanted to take, start a business you've always dreamed of, cruise through Italy on a Vespa, anything you always want to accomplish. But what it does, it's about living a life with more purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. It's about finding your why and finding your own little project that makes you jump out of bed in the morning, your little bucket list mission that makes you tackle your goals and getting that drive. It's about creating that inner sense of getting things done in every area of your life. It's about no longer postponing your goals and dreams to someday maybe, but take action on the spot. It's about experiencing immense personal growth and also professional growth by finding joy outside of your comfort zone. It's about living a life with more fun, adventure, and happiness. It's about making yourself proud for becoming the you that you always wanted to be, and not constantly trying to please other people around you. It's about the ripple effect that you create on your social, on your romantic, and on your corporate relationships when you're just generally more positive, more driven, and more high on life. And it's about writing the stories that you will tell your grandchildren one day, and they are clearly not the ones that you created when you sat at the office all day. It's about stopping to sleepwalk through life and instead breaking the routine to reawaken that desire for more in life. So the thing is, when we buy a bucket list, in fact, if you really, really want to reach your goal and you write it down, study says that you're 42% more likely to actually reach it. And that has to do with the way our brain works. So if you only think about a goal that you got in your head, you're using only the right side of your brain, which is the imaginative center. But if you actually write it down, you also activate the left side of your brain, which is the logic-based center. And then through that, you basically combine both hemispheres of the brain. And then you're telling your subconsciousness and signaling every cell in your body, I want this and I mean it. And then it's the whole law of attraction and the RSA in your brain that actually gets you where you want to be. So you might think now, this is all fun and games and I like the idea, but I cannot just live from love and air and go out and take my bucket list off. And that's correct, but a bucket list, it's not just all black and white. You don't have to go all in adventure or all in career. It's about creating a work-life blend rather than a work-life balance. It's creating a life that you don't need a break from, but actually find purpose and fulfillment in what you're doing. So before I show you the ultimate bucket list blueprint formula, we're gonna take a look at how a bucket list actually contributes to reach peak performance in not only your job, but every area of your life. See, the general holding is that we think when we pursue our bucket list goals, that would keep us from achieving our career goals. But in fact, it's the opposite. The master himself, my boss, he says a bucket list is a tangible life plan where a career plan should fit into and not be the other way around. And here's the proof. In an all-time peak of mental health issues at the workplace, with every fifth person suffering from a mental health condition, it's more important than ever to create a positive work environment. We spend our time at work thinking about all the could-haves and would-haves instead of actually doing them. So mental health issues and a lack of fulfillment therefore count for 50% less productivity at work, which leads employers paying up to 378 hours or $16,000 per unhappy employee per year. And studies have also shown that 69% of the working people are actually not engaged in their job, which can be correlated to either a lack of fulfillment or 57% of people who say that they are dissatisfied with the level of individual recognition from their leaders. Eventually, 79% quit due to a lack of appreciation from their leaders, which in turn causes companies extremely high but very avoidable recruitment costs. Therefore, I, as a bucket list coach, believe that when people thrive, organizations thrive. The idea is that when we feel fulfilled from our personal lives, we got the cognitive resources to invest in our performance at work. We begin to feel positive, our brain is now free to think, and we're being more creative at solving problems. And this will actually lead to a spike in productivity to up to 20%. Another side effect is that when we become more engaged with our lives, we also become more engaged in our jobs and vice versa. In fact, life correlation is positively related to job satisfaction and can boost engagement up to 31%. Another plus for both our personal and our corporate life is the fact that implementing a bucket list lifestyle is the most positive way to train you and also your team, if you have one, to achieve your goals, break them down into tangible bites, and getting things done. You run a marathon, you make that $1 million. That's basically the equation behind it. And another plus is people want to be around people who are more enthusiastic, driven, and motivated, inside and outside of the workplace. So let's be real, which water cooler conversation inspires you more? The one with the little Miss Negative, hating life, complaining about the boss, complaining about the weather, or about her weight, whatever. Or the one with the crazy but enthusiastic cat man who just taught his cat how to do a backflip on the skateboard. Ah, I missed him. Actually, there's a picture of him here. He actually exists, called Kathmandu, and he teaches cats how to do a backflip on the skateboard. So eventually, that doesn't only count for work, but also for your romantic relationships and your social relationships as well. It's a ripple effect. When you become more high on life, you become more positive, driven, and energetic in every area of your life. When you dare to leave your comfort zone once, twice, or 3 times, it's basically like training a muscle, and then you start getting comfy out of your comfort zone. When you realize that nothing is too big to be ticked off the list, you will overcome your self-limiting beliefs. You become more confident and taking on challenges, both personally and professionally, and you will experience immense personal and professional growth. And also, if you're a leader in this room, so therefore I can pledge to all the leaders that are listening to this right now, if you encourage your team to live their bucket list, it doesn't mean that it's a threat and they're going to leave your company. It's a big win to create happier workers, a more positive corporate environment, and a high vibe corporate culture as well. So when your staff feels individually recognized at work, and you feel that you as a leader supporting them in achieving their personal goals, they'll be more likely and more willing to invest in helping you reaching your corporate goals. It's basically like the chicken and egg problem, saying, oh, that's what the study says, that it's not success that brings happiness, but it's actually the other way around, that it's happy people who bring success. So under the bottom line, happiness is contagious, and therefore happy employees make significantly higher profits. Ta-da. Okay, so after clarifying your why and your how in this little motivational speech, and we also discussed now how a bucket list can help you thrive in every area of your life. It's time to actually go over to the what and figure out how and what is that blueprint and how can we create a personally meaningful bucket list for you. But before we jump right into it, I'm just going to explain you how it works. So we got an acronym here. It's a little bit like an AA session. My bucket list, and every letter stands for one specific category. And then we go through every letter individually, and together they form a complete and holistic bucket list. In the actual coaching, we would go through your reverse list, we figure out your why, and then you get 50 suggestions for every category, but this is more like an inspirational talk, and I'm very curious to hear what you put into each of the categories, so feel free to fire it out, put it in the comment section, and let me know. But before we start creating this, before I let you know what the individual categories stand for, I want you to remember 2 things when we're creating the bucket list. Number 1, write it down as if you weren't allowed to tell anyone. Eventually, I want to know what you put in there, but the mindset you should have is don't do it to impress anyone else but yourself. Don't do it for likes on social media. Don't do it for the been there, done that, or take a cool picture. Find something that intrinsically motivates you. Find something that would put on your smile if you weren't allowed to tell anyone in the world. A bucket list is also very, very individual, and therefore there's no one-fits-all solution. So it really is about what's personally meaningful to you. And number 2, write it down as if there are 0 limitations. Only condition, people have to be alive that you want to meet, unless you want to visit their gravestone, But other than that, it's absolutely okay not to be realistic today. Shoot for the moon is the mission of the day. And if you really, really want something from an intrinsic motivation and you're being persistent, the chances are really, really good that you're actually going to get there. So, time has come for the ultimate My Bucket List Blueprint. M. M stands for Meet a Personal Hero. Who did you always want to meet in your life? Who's someone who inspires you? Maybe someone you're giving attention to, or someone who you always wanted to get to know better. Can be someone like the Dalai Lama, for instance, but it can also be like a relative, a long-lost relative, or maybe a secret crush that you never really dared to speak to, or I had people who've been adopted who wanted to meet their natural parents. Anything about that, feel free to put it in the comment section. And we're going to go through it by the end of the 12 letters. So here's the proof. It's my Dalai Lama selfie. Okay. Next letter is Y. Y stands for your proudest achievements. So what would make you extremely proud if you would get it done? What is something that you want to look back at the when your life is just passing by at the end of your days, like in a movie? What do you want to look back on? What would make you proud? What would put a smile on your face? Or what is something, that's basically a pretty good question. What is something you would do if you know you could not fail? What would that be? I'm curious what you're going to put up there. It can, for example, be like giving a TED talk, or getting that promotion at work, or getting the certain project that you've been working on, or sponsor a child, or raising a family. Can also be getting married, or getting your first house, or moving to another country and just do something that, yeah, challenges you a bit. Okay. I hope you all found something for that. Okay. Next letter is B. B stands for buy that special something. That's, I promise, the only materialistic part of this whole bucket list, because a lot of people actually think it's always super expensive and it's all these big things. But as I said, it can be as small or as big as anything. For me, it was a boyfriend pillow. I have him since, is it now, 7 years. It's the best $25 I've ever spent. But it could also be a Rolex watch, or it could be a red Ferrari. It could be just pampering yourself for a day, or like flying first class, something that you just want to buy, maybe even for someone else, or something that you know you have to work for, but that would give you like a little sense of achievement, or if you know that that's your reward by the end of the day, that gets you motivated. It can also be like a personal development seminar, or a VIP ticket to a concert. So something that you really just, that you obviously need money for, but that would make you really proud and give you that sense of fulfillment, and not to be put on the same level as just, you know, money buying you happiness. Is actually the thing that would fulfill you if you bought it. Okay, next one, U stands for ultimate challenges. Ultimate challenges is anything that scares the freaking shit out of you, but it won't kill you. But also, obviously, you really have to want it. Ultimately, your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you're doing something that challenges you, but you're gonna lift up to like a higher self or a better self, you would surround yourself with people who also have that same ambition, or also maybe like 1 or 2 steps ahead. So you're going to be inspired. You're going to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, and you can step into like the community with people who share the same bucket list goal. And yeah, for instance, could be running a half marathon, a marathon, an Ironman, See the ripple effect that comes from that. You maybe start with a 5K run, you do 10, and then you want more and more. And that's the growth that I've been talking about earlier. But it can also be something just a growth that gets out the best self in you, for instance, or even like a mental challenge that you want to overcome, like processing a traumatic experience, or even like leaving a toxic or abusive relationship. That's like a mental challenge for you, but would make you eventually really proud if you accomplish that challenge. Vegemite challenge might not be one of the deepest one, but it was a challenge for me. Actually worked. I do like Vegemite. C. C stands for conquer a fear. What have you always been afraid of? And maybe even what is a fear that's holding you back from being who you always wanted to be? What is a fear that maybe excites you if you know that if you overcome it, where you could be in your life, say professionally or personally, in your business, in your career, or in your relationship? Conquer fear can also mean it opens up a lot of doors, and that you're gonna meet you on the other side that you did not know until then. It's about getting comfy out of your comfort zone and training that muscle that I told you about. It doesn't mean you have to risk your life, but just something that kind of, that interests you, but it's just too scared of trying. But eventually you're gonna experience that growth once you did it, once you accomplish it. So it can be, for instance, a skydive. That's like a very standard bucket list goal. It can be like a shark or crocodile cage dive. It can be, what else have we got? A fire walk. It can also be going on a blind date, or asking someone out for a date that you maybe thought was out of your league and you're like, oh, never gonna say yes. But I can tell you the pain of rejection is nothing compared to the pain of regret. If you never try it, you'll never know. And maybe sometimes the best things can happen out of that. So can also be, so I went partying on my own in one of Germany's biggest, wildest clubs, Berghain. That was quite a challenge, but I can tell you, best night of my life. Definitely do it again. Highly recommend going partying on your own, or even go on a speed date. Okay, letter K, that's very altruistic, stands for kind act for others. Kind act for others, it's basically anything that doesn't require your money, but your undivided time and attention. You can use it for something that really saddens you or pisses you off, and you think you should do something about that, or maybe even a skill that you have that you can share and use it in the service of others to positively impact other people's lives. Whatever you're working on can be like a free skill share. I think actually it's a very kind act for us today. Something that you can contribute to the community, to your country, to make the world a better place. For instance, spread kindness like confetti, give free hugs, sponsor a child, pay school education for someone, help your elderly neighbors doing the grocery shopping, especially in this crazy quarantine times. Visit a stranger, okay, maybe not now, like a lonely person in the hospital, or offer your couch at couch surfing. Reminder to myself, maybe we keep K for, yeah, well, we can do some things virtually, but better keep this K letter for times after social isolation. Maybe free hug days. These times it's not really a kind act for others. Okay, E. Letter E stands for express yourself. Express yourself. What's the creative side of you? What is something you always wanted to tell the world about you? What's something that you want to sing out, apologize for? How can you express your personal creativity? Or maybe something that you really like to do when you were a child, something that just gets you in that state of flow. Just a talent or a skill that you want to share with the world. Can be something like publishing your photography on Instagram, or doing your own art exhibition, writing an article, like make a documentary, start your own podcast or dance or be a tour guide in your own city. Can be a lot of different ways to express yourself. Write a song, write a poem, dress up as a drag queen, maybe come out of the closet, just tell the world, that's me, be your true authentic self. Anything that you feel like the world, that's what I want to share the world, that's what I want to share about myself with the whole wide world. For me, something that really pissed me off is when I felt like people were always, like couples in restaurants, they're always just on their phone and not really talking to each other. So now in my last steps of creating a card game called I Connect, make connection stronger than Wi-Fi to get people to actually talk to each other again. And by that, I hope I can make an impact. And let me know in the comment section what it is for you, what you feel like you need to tell the world. And yeah, now we go over to letter T. I reckon if you had a bucket list, that's probably one of the first things that comes to your mind. It's either bungee jump, a marathon, or learning Spanish. So take lessons stands for first letter T. So my bucket list got two letters, two T's, if you haven't noticed. So what is a skill that you always wanted to learn? What is one thing you've always wanted to be good at, but you never really made the time for it? What is a skill that you've always been envious of when you saw other people can do it? You're like, I wish I could do that. To maybe, yeah, just think about how long ago it is that you learned something for the first time again. Yeah, let me know in the comment section, actually. So a little in between. When was the last time that you did something for the first time, and what was it? Sounds easy, and I can assure you, as children, we always did new stuff and new exciting things. And that's actually why the birthdays in between our 5th and 6th year seem so much longer in our brain than now, because our brain only saves the new memories we created within a year. So as a kid, you learn how to ride your bike, how to read, how to maybe like speak the first words of a foreign language. It's all saved as different memories. So if you look back at the timeline of the year, you have like hundreds of different memories popping up. But when you're an adult and you kind of figure out how the world works, you got the same route to work every day, you got the same, hang out with the same people, eating the same meal, having your coffee at the same time, taking the same way to work every day in the morning, then it's just saved as one day and one memory. So if you look back probably for the last 10 years, come up with 5 different memories. So that's what taking lessons is about. Learning something new, refreshing your brain, get active, use that little machine that's been like not used for way too long. Let me know what's a lesson that you want to take. Can be a language, can be an instrument, can be sports, can be a dance, can be yoga, meditation, or cooking classes, for instance, DJing, beekeeping, surfing. My sister just shared with me that she ordered a ukulele and now takes ukulele classes in quarantine time. So she's not old, but you can never stop learning. So yeah, let me know what T taking lessons is for you. L is actually one of the biggest ones. L stands for leave a legacy. Gonna hit rock bottom again. I want you to imagine your funeral. Imagine it was your funeral and people were gonna talk about your life. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want people to say about you? What impact do you want to have now, or what is something that you want to leave behind? Like, what do you want to say? What do you want other people to say about you when you're not here anymore? What do you want to stand for? And that can basically be expressed through building a company, like building something up. You can create an app that's gonna last. You can invent something. You can fight for women's rights, for animal rights, for you can even like create a family tradition that's going on to the next generation, and they'll pass it on to the next generation. That's also something that lasts. You can register as an organ donor, so that your organs can be used when you pass away to save another person's life. Yeah, that's basically what Leave a Legacy stands for. I reckon that's probably like the hardest and most difficult one. So I'm really curious if you already found something, if you're already working on something that you say you want to leave a legacy for. But I think that funeral speech, even though it sounds really sad, but that can just help you getting an idea of what you want to stand for. Okay. Very curious to see the comment section in a second, but we still got 3 letters to go until then. Anyone know what's next? I stands for idiotic stuff. Life is way too short not to have fun. So that's basically the category on the list that means probably can die happily if you didn't do a few of these things, but you might die a little bit happier if you actually did them. So that can also be something in the category of wasn't actually on my bucket list, but it's crazy enough to just add it later and take it off anyways. Something that you just could say yes to. Whenever you find yourself saying no to something, ask yourself why. If it's like against your intrinsic motivation, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to do something you don't want to do. But if it's just because you're just caught in a routine and it's like it's too much cognitive effort to try something new and to be a little crazy, just ask yourself, why not? Like instead of why, just ask you, why not? And if you cannot come up with a proper argumentation, just try it out. And sometimes it can lead you to the absolute best adventures, and you're going to be so glad you can say yes to. Just imagine what are some random, dumb and silly things that would just make you laugh, or even some events all over the world that are being celebrated that the world probably does not need, but it definitely makes it much more exciting and adventurous that they're out there. For instance, the air guitar world championship in Finland, or the wife carrying championship that's also in Finland. Apparently, Finnish people like crazy challenges. There's a tomato throwing festival in Valencia called La Tomatina at the last Sunday in August, where people throw tomatoes. The world doesn't need it, but it's apart from the food waste they're creating. But other than that, let's just imagine they have tomatoes in abundance. It's a really fun experience to have. It can also be just being on a TV game show, or participate on a food challenge like eating the spiciest chili that there is, or hot dog contest, or these giant burgers if they say like eat the whole burger and you can eat it for free. Do whatever, mud wrestling, be a mascot in a stadium, do a one-to pub crawl, like all the crazy things, go skinny dipping, play bubble soccer. Try that out. Highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Actually, a perfect sport for socially distancing because caught in the bubble, no human contact. Really fun. Participating at the world's biggest gay pride with doctors and dentists when you're totally straight marketing and coach person. Everything that just makes you laugh and smile and just, yeah, puts a smile on your face. Okay, next one, S. S stands for, you already read it, satisfy a curiosity. What is something that you always wanted to taste, see, smell, or touch before your time is up? That can also be sexual. That's perfectly fine. Don't go too crazy if you want to put that in the comment section. Or anything that is always make you wonder of how the world works, and you just, want to get that inner kid back inside of you and just questioning things. It's like, why is it the way it is? Or maybe even check on someone you haven't heard of in a while and just, maybe overcome your pride and be like, oh, actually, I really want to know how this person's been doing. We lost touch and I don't dare to call. Just satisfy their curiosity, pick up the phone, call that person. something you would really, really like to experience, like a hot air balloon ride, for instance, or maybe even something that you want to find out about yourself. So I did an DNA ancestry test. Shockingly, I was 97% German. Nothing against the Germans, but I was hoping I was a bit more exotic. And it can also be ride a camel in a desert, or see the northern lights, or go on a festival that you always wanted to go to, like Burning Man, or like something crazy, going to Vegas, sleep in a castle. What else? Visit a fortune cookie factory, something that you just always wanted to know and actually never really make time for, but you would just feel that sense of achievement, or like satisfied that curiosity if you figured it out. Guess we're coming to the last letter now. We got one more T left, and that's the most standard #1 term that you probably associate with the bucket list. That's why we saved the best for last. Travel adventures. So I bet if you hear that word bucket list, it's probably everything that's popping up in your brain. It's just safari in Africa, Las Vegas, Northern Lights, whatever. So, pardon me. So travel adventures. Why is that the #1 bucket list term? It's actually just because of the one thing I told you about taking lessons. When our brain just remembers all the different memories we made in a year, that means traveling is that one thing that actually really excites us. Because when we're traveling, we're getting exposed to new culture, we're getting exposed to like different ways of life, different food. So we're creating a lot of new memories, and that just makes our brain feel alive. We look back by the end of the year, and then we have this feeling of, oh, it's been so refreshing, and that's why it's always our escape, and that we want to go out and travel. But honestly, even though there are pictures of Africa in there now, traveling doesn't even mean you have to take a plane and leave the continent. You can even be like a bucket lister, a traveler in your own backyard. I'm pretty sure in whatever city you live in, there are heaps of bucket list adventures that you can just do in your own town. And there's just go out and explore your own backyard, watch the sunrise from the highest peak of the city, go to that restaurant that you always wanted to go to, or pass by every day when you're going to work and never go in. It can be like visit the theater, something that's just in your city and you think you got a whole lifetime long to live and to go there, and then you travel the world going to places. But I can assure you that a lot of things that you probably haven't even noticed. Maybe just Google what tourists would do in your hometown, and then just do a tourist day or a bucket list day in your own city. But if you've seen enough of your city and actually want to go out and explore the world, then it's about what adventures would you like to go on, and also who do you want to do them with? Like, do you want to just go solo backpacking to find more about yourself? Is there a specific person that you want to travel with, or is there a specific culture that always make you curious, that you just wanted to find out how they live, how their day looks like? So that's basically everything that goes under travel adventures. It can even be like visiting someone that's combined then to meet a personal hero, like someone that you always wanted to visit and promised you're going to come by one day. And yeah, for like a few examples are obviously Africa safari, Northern Lights, or like smoke a cigar in Cuba, playing paintball in Pablo Escobar's mansion in Colombia. You can visit the Santa Claus village in Finland. You can go on a gorilla trek in Uganda. You can climb the Harbour Bridge in Sydney, Australia. Oktoberfest in Munich, and the list goes on and on and on. But yeah, since our hour of power is almost done and we're accomplished the entire blueprint by now, I'm really, really curious to see what you came up with. And before, I want to encourage you to go out and do crazy bucket list stuff. And before we go through your own comment sections, I just want you to encourage you that only because you're stuck at home at the moment does not mean you cannot tick off your bucket list. Quarantine time can actually be turned into quality time if you either like work on one or all the 12 goals that you just put out of the blueprint. But I wouldn't be a bucket list coach if I did not have a bucket list quarantine edition. So if you want this edition, just feel free to reach out to me and I'll send it to you. It's all the things that you can do completely for free, without leaving the house, without touching anyone. You can tick off a whole bucket list blueprint quarantine edition. That was it from my side. That was my skill that I wanted to share with you. Can consider that a skill. Please feel free to send me any inspiration if you actually ticked something off your bucket list. Let me know what was your highest high, even if it's in 5 years' time, if there's anything that you remembered from this talk, please let me know. That's my greatest reward, to get the gratitude from having inspired you. My name currently on Instagram is Nini Quarantini. I adapted to the time, but other than that, it's Nini Fritz everywhere. And write me an email, nini@bucketlistcoach.com. And then I give back to Robert and encourage you to live your life, because life's way too short not to live your bucket list, and don't die with the music still inside of you. Thank you very much. And Robert, you're back.
Thank you, Nini.
Boo.
Very inspirational. Some great wisdom that you just dropped on all of us. So I very much appreciate it. I hope everyone tuning in appreciated it as well. We do have a couple questions for you while you're still here.
Yeah.
So what is the greatest achievement that you've checked off your bucket list? I know that you walked through quite a bit of them, but what do you deem as the most epic accomplishment that you've checked off?
I think, to be honest, actually becoming a bucket list coach, because when I was in that year, I was like, what the hell do I want to do with my life? Because I just had so much fun living my own bucket list. It's like, I never want this year to end. And the fact that there was actually a job out there that I can just tell other people and encourage them and inspire them to do the same and make a living from that, and like keep up my bucket list year and turn it into bucket list life. I think that's actually, for me, my proudest achievement.
Awesome. Okay, another one. What are some ways to help find your why? I know this could be a very difficult thing for some people to do.
Yeah.
So what are some techniques or ways that you can help people find your why to be able to start building this bucket list life?
So the idea is that if you go through their blueprint, so actually we have like 50 suggestions for each category, so it's a bit easier to come up with something. But eventually you're going to notice a pattern, and you find like that maybe every second category is related to maybe animal rescue, to charity, or to like something arty-farty related. And then you figure out that some things, like some patterns, reoccur. And then through that, you can already see a specific direction that you just feel like that's what's vibing me, that's coming up in multiple ways. Non-bucket list related, I can recommend you to do the 60 personality test. Just go on 16personalities.com. It's incredible. I just did it last week with my entire family, and it helps you so much to find out what you're actually good at, what's your like career path, just the way you interact with people, how that could be beneficial to find your why. And third one is a video by Jake Shetty. That's called, he got a podcast called On Purpose. And there's a video for like 30 minutes, and it's called How to Find Your Purpose. And that's incredible. So he's applying the Ikigai. That's a Japanese concept of finding like basically your why in life. And there are 4 different squares, and then basically the cross section of all of the 4 questions. If you combine them, you find, I won't get into that, but just look it up, and it really, really helps you to find out what you're good at, what you can do with your life.
Amazing. It would be very helpful if you have the links, if you could share them in the comment section for the test and the video. I'd be very interested in checking that out, and I'm sure some of our viewers would as well.
To myself, 16 personalities and okay.
Also, is there a way that you are able to share your presentation in the comment section? Is there a link that we can access the bucket list blueprints that you walk through?
I think I don't have, let me think. I can just create a slide and send it to you.
Okay, well, I put your personal information in there as well. So
okay, perfect. Or just reach out to me and then I'll send it over.
Okay, perfect. So another question is, without making a career change, what are some ways to find fulfillment in your own work?
Like I would say, it doesn't necessarily, like it's good if your fulfillment comes through work and through your job, but I think if you find something in your personal life that's giving you that sense of fulfillment, you come to work with a different approach. Like work is just going to be something you do like on the side, but then you go back to like your personal life and get something that's driving you that you can do before or after work. So basically work takes a lot of time of our life, but in the end it's just a third of it. So 8 hours of work, but we still have like 8 hours to sleep and 8 hours to spend our free time. So that's double of the time that we got for ourselves. And if you find something that really gets you going from there, that's even something that can motivate you at work to keep on going, that you know that's like a light at the end of the tunnel, or even that's like one of the theories how to accomplish the bucket list goals. But a lot of people swear on the miracle morning, so it's like the 5 a.m. club. So you work on your own goals before you even go to work. So you're starting with 100% of the energy that you got when your mind is refreshed and put it in your own project, and then you go to work with maybe like 80% of your energy and give that to someone else. And then when you come back home in the evening and are maybe like on 20%, can just chill, watch Netflix, but make sure you got the 100% for yourself, for your own little things or big
Very
things.
cool.
Oh.
Very cool. So this next one is a bit off topic, but I'm sure it's a burning question for a lot of our viewers, especially as a native German. Maybe you have some insights into sharing, but any tips you have on getting into Bergheim?
I love that. Oh my God, I love that person who asked that question. Actually, that's a very good one. I gotta admit, I was nervous as fuck. That's why I went by myself, because I thought if I don't get in, no one's gonna know. To be honest, I was already in bed when I decided I'm gonna do that. So I just went, like, I didn't brush my hair, did not put up makeup, didn't even wear a bra, just went like straight from bed. I was like, I'm just gonna try it in the most natural way I can do it. And if they let me in, I'm their style. And if they don't. I like my friend and me, we watched a tutorial and we figured out there's no way to, like, there's no guide to make it inside, but there's a guide of how to fuck it up. Like there's certain things that guarantee you won't get in, and the other percentage at least gives a little chance of making it in. So wear black. That's one of the things. Don't go there as like a, paradise bird. Give them the look, a very, very fine line of I don't give a fuck, but I'm not arrogant. If you look too desperate, like I really, really want to get in there, they see that you're a tourist and you just want to go in because it's cool. It's a very fine line. Just be like, know the DJs. That's very important. Know the lineup, because sometimes they ask, so they really want to make sure people come for the music. Yeah. Don't try too hard. Be yourself.
Don't try too hard. Okay. That's good advice. That's good advice. Thank you.
I love that question.
And the last one on the list is, how can you stay on track to living your bucket list life without getting derailed?
Make yourself accountable. Honestly, that's one thing that I've really, really learned is accountability. Like personally for me, I tell myself I want to do like one bucket list item per week. And that can be as big as little as anything. Can even just be like reconnect with an old friend that I haven't talked to in a while, or like little big, whatever. But make yourself accountable, right? Maybe get like a notebook, something that you actually have to do to tick. And then it's just that, you know, feeling inside of you when you don't have to tick yet. You just want to tick it off. Like it's as simple as that. But or maybe find like an accountability buddy. I'm happy to be your accountability buddy as well. We actually even got a Facebook group for bucket listers, so I'm happy to get you in the group. Then you can share your goals, find other people, make yourself accountable, report how far you come, and what's also important, break your goal down into tangible bites. Like don't just say run a marathon, like break it down into do like a 500-meter run, do a 5K run, and then it gets a little bit smaller, so it's not just that big mountain that you don't even want to start to climb. A 5K run is doable, and then add it up so you don't lose the motivation. Set little success benchmarks along the way, and then be proud of them, and then they motivate you to keep on going.
Amazing. Well, that is about all the time we have, Nini. I want to thank you so much again for coming on and agreeing to share your motivational Skillshare. And so everyone give it up to Nini, and we look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
And we will see you soon. Everybody else tuning in, don't forget next Wednesday, the 29th, we'll be live streaming another Skillshare led by Adele Wyjak on building a brand that doesn't suck. So feel free to follow our Outpost page to reserve your spot for that. So everyone stay well, and we'll see you all soon. Nini, have a great evening. Good night, everybody. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from.
Hope to see you all in real life one day.
Soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.